Hey there everyone, it's a new video, and it's also a cold night here in the town where I live. I'm on my way to this cool place that I want to show you, and in today's video I think I want to talk about...
It doesn't matter what you think! You know your damn role, and
Open
your damn mouth!
Well, then, in my capacity as video maker, today's essay will be about Mr. The Rock's advice. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to relate to this, except the other day I put my foot in my mouth on the internet. It was when Nazi Punch happened on Inauguration Day, and, you know, I went on Twitter and I made a comment trying to be witty. But my comment wasn't witty, it was insensitive. Later that day, my friend, a person I really respect, messaged me. He was frustrated, and he told me, you know, how my tweet made him feel. He was right to do that. When I tweeted, I wasn't standing up for anything. I was just adding a little bit of negativity to the conversation for its own sake, and laughing, because I was in a position to do so. I didn't check my privilege before publicly criticizing, however lightly, the people who were standing up against vociferous approval of what was undeniably a black and white case of assault. I knowingly made an insensitive remark, and my friend made a socially difficult decision to pull me aside and set me straight. Today's video is about how we should all try to be so brave. So, as The Rock opined in the beginning of this video, we are all filling some roles in society, and that these roles are knowable. But the implication in his using the imperative mood of the verb suggests that these roles may not be known, either intentionally or otherwise. My friend's bravery stems from this point. He chose to take on a role that he could have ignored. He could have stood by while I carried on quipping about things that made him upset. He didn't do that. Instead, he private messaged me and told me what he thought. Despite that being a socially difficult thing to do directly and privately, and harder still to do to someone who you like and respect. That, I would posit, is what the fuck friends are for. Now, I'd like to suggest that we all have guts like my friend, but I also want to encourage everyone to stay cool, so let me qualify my previous statements with those asterisks that you saw. Just to be clear, I'm not suggesting that we all start feeling entitled to get in each other's faces as often as possible. Every time we see a hole in each other's logic or perspective, we're on the same team. We have to be good to each other. Also, I'm not suggesting that we draft a code of conduct or anything. Drafting, like, rules to follow would be very bad for a bunch of liberals. We would all become thought police, and we would eventually break up into, like, warring political factions, which would really do bad things against our goal of sort of stopping a single political enemy. You know, this is something we're going to have to play by ear and use our head with constantly. This case-by-case sort of stuff. And also, what my friend thought was important to me, not just because I respect him as a very careful and clear-headed thinker, but also because he comes from a different background than me. Like, he lives in a different part of the country, comes from a different ethnic background, religious background. There's a lot that I can learn from him, and I know that. And so, you know, when he has his you know, viewpoints to share with me, I listen closely, because I have a lot to learn, and I like learning. And here are some thoughts on that. So back in college, I had a creative writing class. I had lots of creative writing classes. We would read our stories in these classes and receive peer feedback. The last class that I ever took, the professor in that class set down rules for receiving feedback, which have profoundly helped me ever since. Listen first, talk later. Here, in her words. The idea is that people have to be quiet so they can hear comments, even those they really oppose and want to argue with out of the box. It's important, too, for a writer to write down comments he or she hears in workshop without speaking back to them. The writing process, even in the note-taking, seems to help people think a little more clearly. It helps so much with revision, re-seeing things. That's so good. And so I want to offer this advice to you in the case that you're ever directly criticized by someone who approaches you in a spirit of honesty. Listen first, talk later. And just my own personal amendment, when it is your time to talk, you know, don't feel the need to explain yourself in detail. Take your punches. You're tough like that. Because of personal shortcomings, I'm not always able to follow this advice, except I could never think of a time where listening and reflecting on criticism has hurt me. The last roles worth keeping in mind are our roles as people of varying degrees of privilege and our roles as human beings. I'm not going to touch on privilege in this video. It's a hot word at the moment, and there are a bajillion memes and Twitter threads and articles that go into the ins and outs of privilege much better than white male me could or should. So let me talk a little bit about the humanity that we share. Now, I'm no big city nihilist, but it seems to me that when the phrase shared humanity is brought up nowadays, we just focus on the good stuff. Charity, brotherhood, common purpose, occasionally how awesome it is that Elon Musk wants to colonize Mars. We focus on the 2% of our genetic code that is uniquely human, and we ignore the big chunk that we share with our cousins, the primates. So, real talk time. From one big-headed ape to another, I'd like to tell you, through this gorgeous little robot eye brain thing that can record my every movement and that is transmitted to you through this binary alternate universe that our species invented by itself. It's so cool. No, sorry, that is not the headspace I want to be in. You, hominid, you got an attitude problem. It's not because of you personally, it's because of you genetically. You, me, Gilbert Godfrey, we are bad-tempered social animals. Our cousins, the bonobos, they are chill. We ain't chill. We don't chill unless we focus real hard on chilling. We gotta make us some civilization, we gotta program some moral schools of thought, we gotta invent teddy bears so that we can cuddle any time of day. That kind of stuff chills us out in huge numbers for long periods of time. And you might be like, man, what, me? Man, you don't even know me. I love kitty cats like you ain't even got a clue. And you're right, I don't know you. But what I'm trying to say is, if somebody steps up to you and they try telling you what's what, you gotta keep your head on straight. Don't get defensive, don't go on the offensive. Keep in mind the hot-blooded shortcomings of our shared humanity. That person criticizing you, they probably just want to help, and they might not be super chill themselves given the current political atmosphere. Not to mention, they might not be so good at doing the whole take the exact feeling that's in my brain right now and put it into words thing. I know I'm not very good at that all the time either. That's why these episodes take me days and days to write. We all have our shortcomings and problems, and things like YouTube help us polish that up and make it look a lot nicer than we would be capable of doing face-to-face. What I'm trying to say is, try to keep your cool, and, try to keep in mind that not all of us can keep our cool all of the time. And if somebody does lose it, and if they lose it in your face, try to let it go. Or try to forgive them, if you can. It's just that, when we get excited, we know not what we do. At the end of the day, we're just, big-headed apes at heart. So, in practicing bravery, practicing listening first, and practicing sympathetic understanding over the next several years of this Trump fiasco, from one imperfect, big-headed, short-tempered, oddly furred, but curiously good-looking great ape to another, I wish you way more than luck. If you smell, what I'm cooking. End screen. I don't want to, qualify this in such a way that destroys the entire message of togetherness and forgiveness that I just gave, except this video was very specifically for anti-Trump people who sort of get on each other's nerves from time to time. I have very qualified and different feelings for people who, lived through the 2016 election campaign and then chose Donald Trump. If you are the kind that has forgiven those people and can interact with them smoothly and easily without worrying about the well-being of your family, friends, etc., that is great. I'm not quite there yet, but I think one of these days I will get there if I live through, what happens to the world over the next several years. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the subscribe button. I'm interested if people are interested in this kind of thing over the next couple of years. I don't think this is anything special, but if you want me to keep doing it, let me know by clicking that button.